Hey guys, Purple Grizzly here, and how sick is that new intro? That is so freaking legit! The guy who made it, his link is going to be in the description. Thank you so much, I am really digging it. Anyway, I want to welcome you guys to my part 2 commentary, talking about my week-long backpacking and river rafting trip I just got home from. If you have not seen part 1 of these commentaries, feel free to go to the description box and click on that link. That will be there waiting for you, oh so surprisingly. Alright, so let's start from where we left off. I slept in a tent and it rained all night. It was cold and wet and rainy and it sucked. So we're all getting geared up and ready for our next and final day of rafting. And so it's not really sunny out, it just rained, it's still cloudy, and it's starting to sprinkle every now and then, but it's not full on raining yet. So we all get in the rafts, we launch out, and we continue down the river. Now the second day of rafting, it's quite a bit more intense. The rapids are a little more faster, uh, they're a little bigger, and it's a little more hectic. So for the first 9/10 of this section of the river that we're doing, it really wasn't, nothing exciting happened. Like I said, the rapids were a little bigger, but I was working with my raft teammates. We were navigating it fine, everything. But there's this one section where there were some rocks sticking up out of the water. And when you're river rafting, one of the most important things you want to do is to avoid rocks. Why? Because you can get stuck on them, they could rip up your raft underneath it, and lots of bad things can happen, which did happen. So at this moment, I'm up in the top left of the raft. I'm in the front row, doing it Navy SEAL style, like a boss. I got my left foot in the water, right foot in the raft, and I'm paddling through these rapids like a beast. And I see that we are coming up on this really fat rock, and I was like, "Oh shoot, we're gonna get stuck. We're gonna get stuck on this." So what I do is my foot, which is in the water, which is my left foot, I stick it out and try and push off of this rock and try to avoid it. Little did I know, Mother Nature is very strong. I also didn't take into account the force of the river and all the momentum this boat had with all the people in it. So I stuck my foot out in an attempt to push off of this rock, and the boat kept on going. I ended up jamming my foot between the raft and the boat, and the water, with the force of the river and the boat, it just actually bent my foot backwards, and it got stuck, like it bent underneath the raft, if you can imagine that. It's pretty hard to describe, but it was very painful. And to be honest, the way it happened, I feel like it's a miracle I didn't break my foot or anything like that. So with some help, I was able to get it free. I wasn't paddling for the rest of that rafting expedition. I was pretty much sitting in a raft dealing, because it was so painful. It literally sucked. And about the last mile and a half of river rafting, it started raining and we were getting wet and splashing. And it was just so cold and miserable. This last like Hail Mary stretch to land. So once we reached land, I found out the hard way. I could not put that much weight at all on my left foot, and it was very painful. I was gimping around like a little wounded goat. And all that was going in my mind during this was, oh crap, we're doing backpacking tomorrow. And backpacking the first day, we always hike in, and we hike up a mountain. And I'm walking around like an injured goat. How am I going to carry a 30-pound backpack and hike up a mountain? It's like, yeah, this is gonna suck. So I'm taking it easy for the rest of that day, and the following day rolls around. It's Wednesday morning, and my foot is feeling a lot more painful than it did. I had talked to my mom the previous night. She gave me a call, and I mentioned to her what happened, and she was freaking out. I was gonna do the backpacking part of it, and I talked with some of the staff members, and they're thinking, I had two options. I could either hike in the mountains, which uh, would be very painful and very difficult, or my mom would drive up to the location we were at and actually take me home, which that would be about a total of 9 hours of driving, and that was just completely, the idea of that was ridiculous, and I would not have that, and I just could not lead the trip, because this trip is one of the most important things to me ever in the history of everness. And so I chose to hike in and up into the mountains. Fortunately for me, some of my buddies helped me out with the weight of my pack. They carried my sleeping bag and pad, so that was a tad bit easier. And we actually went to a new location this year. We normally go up to this lake area, but it was all snowed in, and it's very steep uphill. But this section that we did this year, it really wasn't that hard of a hike, but it was definitely one of the most painful things I've ever gone through in my entire life. Last year on this trip, I had the flu and I hiked in the mountains, and it was the point where I wanted to lay down and die. But this was just so painful and it sucked, and I don't even want to talk about it. It just I beast moded that hill, or that mountain, I should say. So we finally got up to our campsite. I was about half hour to an hour behind everyone else because I was moving so slow. But I did it, and we got up there at our campsite. We camped next to this lake, and it was really foggy and it was cloudy, but it wasn't raining. And so the next step we had was actually to make dinner. And we go backpacking. We don't bring no hot pockets or stoves, or what stoves? We bring stoves. We bring these little stoves with some propane, little propane canisters, and they're really small and stuff. And the type of food everyone brings backpacking is there's things called like mountain houses, where it's freeze dried food, and you add hot water and stuff in it, and you could like make like spaghetti, and it's like ultimate survival stuff. It's pretty crazy. But I actually hiked in pizza. We made pizza. My food group and I, we like planned out like, oh yeah, we're gonna do some pizza first night, get everyone jealous. They're all eating their crappy mountain food, and you know what? It was worth it. The whole hike-in was worth the pizza. It was freaking awesome. So nighttime rolls around. We've had our group talk. We've done the campfire stuff, and pretty much everyone's getting ready for bed. And when you're in the mountains backpacking, I mean, this isn't some campsite like at a park or something like that. This is seriously in the wilderness, and one of the main things is staying warm. And I've been on this trip about 4 times now, and I know what I need, to stay warm. And I need a good sleeping bag, so I actually purchased a sleeping bag at Big Five about 3 days before the trip. A 15-degree bag, mummy style, and 15 degrees means it should keep me warm all the way down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And it actually got about 30 degrees, so a little below freezing at nighttime. And I was shivering like a baby child. Okay, so I literally, the whole night, I was shivering. I had freaking bad heartburn. I woke up, had to throw up and stuff out in the woods, and it sucked. I was shivering, and the whole night I was thinking about how I'm going to light Big Five store on fire and burn it to the ground, and possibly go to jail for arson. So the first night was terrible. It sucked, and it just sucked even worse, and it just sucked, and it sucked, and it freaking sucked. Let me tell you this. There is not another moment where you would appreciate the sun coming up after a cold, freezing night such as this. It was so cold, the lake we stayed at actually froze. Like, the lake literally froze overnight, and it thawed out throughout the day, but it seriously froze overnight. It was like, whoa, it was cold. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my part 2 commentary of my epic week-long backpacking river rafting trip. And so far it probably seems like this trip sucked, but it actually didn't. It was a lot of fun, and I totally don't regret anything. So if you guys can leave a like and a favorite on this video, I would very much appreciate it. It would help me out tremendously. I will continue the story in a part 3 commentary. Also, I'm going to do something new. I'm going to put this video on the Respawn app on Facebook, the Machinima Respawn app. So there's going to be a link in the description. Check all those other links too, please. And if you could go on there and bump it for me, help me get some exposure through Respawns somehow, maybe. I would appreciate that tremendously, and I would send you metaphorical kisses from my heart. So like I said, hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, rate, subscribe, tickle my belly. Uh, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.